Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 153. We are here whether you are brand new going after your first deal or you are an experienced investor. We are here to give you the tools and tactics that work right now in this current market. And even our most staunch critics describe this show as an island of light in a sea of darkness. With that, I'd like to introduce my co-host and myself. We've got Pace Morby, Mr. Sub 2. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and we are ready to rock and roll. Guys, the show is wide open. This is going to be real deep question and answers until Pace and I go on some tangent about something and go off of that. But until we do, I want you to load us up with any questions, anything that you're working on, any challenges that you're dealing with. We want you to put it in the comments section. And of course, make sure that you squad up with each other. Make sure you put where you live, where you are doing business, so you can find like-minded people that you can actually meet person to person, face to face, eye to eye, and really build a great squad where you live and where you do business. Because I'm telling you, you want to make a fortune in life, do it with your friends. It makes it so much better and so much faster. Would you agree, Pace?
I've never made a dollar in my life without another human being involved.
That's right.
And I prefer to have those human beings be my very, very best friends. So make friends in this business, just like Brent said, and you will make a lot of money and have fun doing it. It will never feel like work. I don't wake up in the morning and go, man, I really need to do deals. I wake up in the morning and go, I get to do deals, and I get to do it with my very best friends.
Can I break down a quick little story, Pace, as we open this up and get people, get people in the chat asking questions. And I think that you put a link somewhere for people to join us. So that'll be absolutely incredible. But I have a member of the Rhino tribe, right, in the coaching program, and crushed it last year. And I want him on the podcast, the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, but just didn't, wasn't really comfortable, wanted to kind of stay under the radar, and that's fine. But something really interesting happened in his life, because he had been around. I had seen him in DMs for years, and Facebook posts and YouTube comments and everything, always around, always kind of, the classic, like really taking in a lot of education, but not really taking action. And finally started to really start taking some action and build some momentum. And I was like, what was it? Right? What was the thing that finally, made you, pushed you over the edge and made you really start implementing? And it wasn't his paralysis by analysis. It wasn't, he was trying to be perfect with things. It wasn't, he was procrastinating or anything like that. One morning he woke up, and his daughter, who's on honor roll, she's 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that, honor roll, asked him point blank, "Why are we poor?"
Oh my gosh.
Right? Why are we poor? And I think just in his heart, in his soul, that hit harder than anything ever could. And I don't know if it was a situation where the daughter was with somebody, kids of means, or just whatever, watch TV or YouTube or whatever else, but just hit him with the, why are we poor? And instead, and I thought that this was very admirable. Instead of going into the blame game, instead of going into, well, I've tried stuff and it didn't work, or, we were born into this or this situation or that situation or whatever else, he just started to actually that day go out and just try to, he was just door knocking. He just started door knocking and building momentum. And last year did over 300,000 in
Wow.
in 2022, which was a transitional market. And I think that it's just like, we don't have to get to that point to be able to go out there and to really take action and to really make a difference, and to get outside of ourselves, our own brain, our own thoughts, and go out into the community and try to provide value. And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's all that we can do to go to build up income to the point where, one, we do our first deal. That's our first step. Two, we go into this business full time. And then three, we start making a business out of it. We start bringing people, and we're a magnet to it. And, it's just, you never know what'll really push you. But I just hope that, just maybe even hearing that story, or just something today in this show over the next 90 minutes causes somebody to call somebody for the first time, or to write a handwritten letter to somebody that owns a rough property and mail it to them, or, reach out to the person that they know that can help them out with creative finance because they know somebody that's in a tough situation, or whatever else. But just building that momentum is key. And I think it's just so powerful that we can go out there in this country and change our financial future by just providing as much value as possible, which is really cool.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I have a similar situation, a similar story. I have a student named Steve Crawford out of Yuma, Arizona. And I've never met somebody with this job description, but he was a crop duster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Never met anybody like that, right? I never even knew there was like a full-time position of crop duster, but obviously there has to be, right?
Yep.
So he's a crop duster, and his boss said, "Hey, I'll give you a raise if you go and get this certification, you get this certification, and I'll give you a raise." Okay. Well, Steve goes out and he's like, "All right, I'm chasing down this raise." It took him about 2 years to come up with the certifications to get that raise. And the week that he gets these certifications, expecting the raise, his boss goes and hires an outside person and gives that person the opportunity that Steve had been working for 2 years. So that night, Steve goes home and he goes to Google and he Googles how to get rich. Literally Googles how to get rich. Google replies with, "You should get into real estate because that's where the most millionaires are created, is in real estate." Okay. And he says, "Okay." And he Googles, "How do I get started in real estate?" Okay. And that pops up a Steve Trang episode.
Mm-hmm.
Then it pops up the episode with me.
Mm-hmm.
He joins my community. And within a week, he had his first $0 down, 0% seller finance deal. He still owns it to this day. It pays him. And him and I combined, I think him and I now own 40 units together in Yuma,
Awesome.
Arizona. And he Googled how to get rich.
Right.
Because somebody basically stuck it to him. And I really like that thing of your daughter walking into you and saying, "Why are we poor?" That's like a punch right to the gut as a father. And I know how much everybody in here, we're like a family. Everybody's in here is like a family. And I know everybody has kids, or a lot of people have kids, or family oriented. And man, if your daughter says that to you,
Mm-hmm.
as a father, there's no better bond in my life than my bond with my daughter. And if my daughter said that to me, that I don't know what I would do other than go out and knock doors as well. That's freaking amazing. I love that so much. So I'm excited for the show today. I've actually got a really good question that popped up in the side chat. If you don't mind, if we start off with Walter for the day.
Let's do it.
Walter says, with interest rates and inflation going up, how is it that these flippers are investing in and reselling the houses? Are they even selling with these high interest rates? And what do we do as wholesalers? Okay, this is a very loaded, multi-layered question. I want to start with a couple of things. Interest rates will continue to go up. I get a lot of people that say, no. I read this article. Interest rates are going to go down this year. No, guys, no, they're not. And when people say, well, interest rates went down last week, Guys, that's not how it works. Okay. You guys don't understand that the Fed raises rates, and the mortgage industry, in the anticipation of Fed raising rates, they also raise their rates essentially ahead of time. And based on when the Fed stops, or maybe it doesn't go up a full percentage point, then the mortgage industry comes in and goes, okay, we can settle down a little bit because it didn't go up as high as we thought it was. So when they trigger downwards, it doesn't mean that they actually lowered rates. Nobody has lowered rates. The Fed has not lowered rates. Okay. What is the mortgage industry, in the anticipation of the Fed going up a full percentage point, the mortgage industry comes in and tries to chase that, or actually get ahead of it, by raising their rates a full percentage point. And when the Fed only raises it 0.75, then the mortgage industry lowers it a little bit. That's a simplified version of it. Okay. I know that everybody out there thinks they're so smart. There's probably a loan officer in here that thinks they're so smart about rates. You're not. If you can't explain it to a third grader, you can't explain it to anybody. So keep it simple. Rates are not going to go down this year. The Fed very specifically said we will not have a rate go lower in 2023. We do not anticipate lowering rates until 2024 or even later. The Fed has said that. Okay. The Fed has said that. All right. So your Yahoo Finance or your Cracker Jack box or wherever you're getting your news, interest rates are not going down. Now, they might settle in and they're not going to raise them as high as they have been, but they are not going down. Okay. Mark my words, record this, take your little Android and record me saying that interest rates are not going to go down, and then prove me wrong at the end of the year. Okay. That's number one. Okay. So Walter is correct. Interest rates will continue to go up. However, here's what's kind of cool. Inflation has actually started trending downward, which is a good thing. Okay. So the Fed is now saying, okay, raising interest rates is actually working. The inflation is still crazy high. It's still really, really high, but it is now starting to simmer down a little bit. Okay. Which is good news. It's really, really good news. And that should be a sign for you, in a very simple way, for you to go, I don't think they're going to raise rates like crazy in 2023. I think they're going to raise rates in February, and I think they're going to raise rates again in June. And I think they're going to be done for the year. I think they'll wait for the rest of the year to settle in. And I think in 2024, they'll actually start playing with interest rates going down just a hair to kind of stabilize. That's my prediction. Okay. Now, how are these flippers investing in reselling houses? Well, there's still a demand. Okay. There is still a demand. And what's funny is the prices of houses have just been too high based on the interest rates. And so prices are just going to come down a little bit this year. I think they're going to come down about 15 to 20%. So if you have a $500,000 house, by the end of the year, it's going to be worth $400,000. It's not going to be like 2008 when a $500,000 house went down to $130,000. That's not what's going to happen here. Okay. Is it going to be hard? Are there going to be tremendous amount of layoffs? Yes. We already look at I picked up a really great transaction coordinator the other day. She got fired from the mortgage industry. A lot of people in the mortgage industry are getting fired. A lot, thousands and thousands and thousands. There's nobody doing loans, right? In comparison, real estate agents are having a really hard time. Guess what? Builders are slowing down. If builders are slowing down, then commodity market like wood and these types of things are going to slow down too. We are going to go into a little bit of a soft recession, is my personal opinion. However, flippers are still flipping. Wholesalers are still wholesaling. This is actually the greatest time to be doing it, because now sellers' sentiment is catching up to what's going on. They're getting punched in the face by their days on market, and people are scooping up amazing deals. I was with Jamil the other day. He has an $80,000 assignment. One of my students, their first deal was last week closed, $87,000 assignment. Brent just did like a $90,000 assignment last month. People are making how much?
Two of them. Yeah. And it's, even listen, in our business, if we're talking wholesaling here, and we'll just for 1 second put creative finance, because this is a prime time to learn creative finance solutions, because this is where you're going to see a lot of the people come out of the woodwork to add to their portfolio. If they can take those loans that are lower interest rate or negotiate lower interest rates with sellers, which makes them the bank, which puts the power in there. So there's a ton. I mean, we know that. But for us, as a real estate wholesaler in my company, I don't look at interest rates ever. I have a conversation with real life buyers, and we have conversations with real life buyers every single day. And the fact is, if the market's going up or down, inflation going up or down, interest rates going up or down, do we still have to talk to people every day? Do we still have to have quality conversations with distressed property owners? 1,000%. Even when we crashed, Pace, you know this as well as I do. When we crashed, there was more investment dollars put into our county than ever before, ever during the crash.
Yeah.
During the crash, that's when everybody came, and it's not going to be a crash. It's not going to be something like that. But yeah, I mean, I listen to Elon Musk. He says Q2 of 2024, we should come out of this thing with a little bit of sunlight. And yeah, I think if anybody knows, it's probably him. And but it doesn't matter to us. What changes is we have better conversations with our cash buyers. We find out what they're looking for, and then we cater our efforts towards our customers.
I think we're missing something. Let me finish my thought on this. We're missing something very important. People in this business got greedy the last couple of years, and it was the easiest time to make money in this business. Right now, the business is normal.
Yep.
It's not harder than it was 2 years ago. It's just that the last 2 years, it was the easiest time to make money in wholesaling ever. Now it's normalized. It's not even challenging. It's just normal. It's just normal. Okay. There are still buyers. Now, we also have the added benefit. I've been talking about this for 7 years. So I see people running ads for sub-2 mentorships and creative finance mentorships and all these kind of things. All these gurus are coming out of the woodwork trying to teach creative finance. Guys, we've been done doing creative finance for years. Okay. It's not a new thing. Okay. Go to my YouTube channel. I am by far the largest. If you add up all the other creative finance people, I am the largest combined with all of those guys. Okay. We've been talking about it. The time to have been learning creative finance was last year, the year before. Guess what? The time to learn creative finance is even more now. You've got a good probably 36 to 48 months where creative finance, the last 2 years, I'd say wholesale was having its day in the sun. Right now, creative finance is having its day in the sun. But guess what? We wholesale subject to deals. We wholesale seller finance deals. Guys, this is not new. Okay. You should have all these tools in your tool belt. Forget about what the market is doing. Like Brent said, all you're doing is having quality conversations with motivated sellers every single day. It's not like all of the sudden you go, oh my gosh, I guess what should I do? Should I pivot? What do you mean pivot? Are you going to stop having these conversations that Brent is talking about? Guys, no, the business doesn't change. The business is the business is the business. Okay. If I'm a Subway sandwich franchise, I don't look at this and go, well, I guess we're not going to sell sandwiches anymore because the market is getting challenging. Guys, your product is finding distressed properties from motivated sellers. And it might not even be a distressed property. It could be just a distressed situation, right? Like a deal I bought last week. I bought a deal. I'll show you a deal I bought last week for zero money down. Let me pull this up real quick. And it's not a distressed house. It's actually a brand new house. It's just that the seller was going through a distressed situation. Here's the deal. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, it's either an ugly house or an ugly situation.
There you go. Ugly house or an ugly situation. So that's what we're looking for. And it's a very, very simple business. When people act like we're going to pivot and change, guys, you should be looking at adding tools to your tool belt every single day. Don't act like this is a different business. Every day, creative finance should have been added to your tool belt a long time ago. Negotiating better should have been added to your tool belt a long time ago. Here you go. Look at this cute house. Okay. Brand new.
Great.
Brand new.
Yeah.
I don't even have to do touch-up paint. I paid $0 to the seller. The seller literally walked away from the house. I paid $0 to the seller. I didn't even have to go through a title company on this deal. And I bought it subject to. I'm going to turn this into a midterm rental and make a bunch of money on it. So here's the thing, guys. These strategies are things you should all know. Okay. Cash deals, creative deals, you should know them. It's not the market's doing this, we should do more creative. You should be doing creative all the time. You should be doing creative all the time. Here's the actual honest thing about creative finance right now. Okay. Creative finance is the market is trending downwards, right? And so what's happening is you probably want to wholesale a lot more of these creative finance deals than you do acquire them. So right now, wholesale still is having its day in the freaking sun.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to go out and find them. And here's the difference. is I've never changed my list. My list is always my list. Okay. I'm always calling on the motivated seller lists. Now with creative finance, I have a couple of additional layers of lists, like one of them being no equity deals. I will call on no equity deals, whereas most wholesalers don't do that. I was in Tampa, 300-person meetup last night, had a wholesaler that just found out about Wholesale Hotline a couple of weeks ago. And he comes up to me. He's like, all right, man, what list are you calling on? I feel like I'm not calling on the right list. I'm like, classic question. I think you're probably calling on all the right lists. And he says, what's your favorite? I go, no equity. And he goes, you guys call on the no equity list? Yeah, because that's the sub two. Here's the sub two golden triangle. Okay. Foreclosures, expired listings, no equity. You want a sub two deal today? Those three, you're going to win. Now, you want to add the little fourth bumper, go on market, go on Privy or go on market and find listings that have been on the market for over 90 days. And that's the fourth bumper. If you go call those, you're going to get a sub two deal. You can wholesale it, you can fix and flip it, or you can hold it in your portfolio. I'm primarily 85% of what I do is buy my portfolio. However, if you're brand new to real estate, I don't suggest you go out and buy something and put in your portfolio. I suggest you go out and wholesale your first 5 deals, get cash in your pocket, get the mechanics down, build relationships, get in the side chat, etc. So
get into the business full time.
Yes.
Replace your income, fire your boss. You know what I mean? Like get the, you know what I'm talking about. I love it.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Pace. When you're pulling lists, where do you suggest people pull their list from? Because I want to ask you about a specific list and see if you've tested it.
So if I'm pulling probate, we always go to alltheleads.com. I don't know why that guy has some sort of tech. I tell people all the time, most lists are going to be the same. If you go to PropStream, you go to Batch Leads. I've never seen a really big, tremendous difference between the lists. It's more like your user experience and pricing and stuff like that's more important. But freaking alltheleads.com for freaking probate leads are unbelievable. The best data I've ever seen. So probate, alltheleads.com. I don't affiliate for them, guys. They just have really good stuff. Foreclosures, we go to pre-foreclosures daily. I go to a very specific source for foreclosures. Now in Arizona, I have the luxury of having my wife as an agent. So I get to pull foreclosures and all sorts of amazing lists through the MLS, like expired listings. We go directly to the MLS for my wife. Everything else on expired listings, I go on Privy. I pull expired listings there. Days on market, Privy, same thing. And then we pull those out and we skip trace those outside of that on Batch Leads.
I had Burton on from PropStream.
He's so good, dude.
And he's incredible. And he was pulling lists showing estimated payment amount versus estimated rental amount, right? And doing a percentage there, and then filtering it by years of ownership. So you look at, loans that have been on those properties for a long time and the low payment, and then you've got an area where the rental rates like double or triple what that payment is, and going after those that have been owned a bunch and calling those. And I thought that was a really interesting list as well.
I love it.
I'd love for somebody on here to test that out. It was literally last Thursday that we talked about it, so we haven't tested it yet, but I thought that was really interesting.
I love that. Yeah. So guys, our lists don't really change. I've always been looking for sub 2 and seller finance deals. Here's the other thing that's really interesting. I can only acquire so many properties. So people are like, man, you must be gobbling up a lot of properties with sub 2 and seller finance. Here's the truth. I am overwhelmed with sub 2 and seller finance opportunities. I can't buy any more than my pipeline and my bandwidth can handle. We are wholesaling those deals. So the equation of how many deals I buy and keep in my portfolio versus how many I wholesale, that equation has not changed. The equation of how many of those are cash deals versus creative deals has changed. It used to be my cash deals were like 40% of what I was doing. Or I'm sorry, my cash deals were like 60% of what I would wholesale, and I would wholesale 40%. Now it's flip-flopped. It's 60% of what I'm wholesaling is sub 2 and seller finance. 40% is cash. So a little bit has changed, but guess what? My lists haven't changed. My scripts haven't changed. It's just been a little bit easier to pivot people over to my creative department, what I call it, than it has been in the last, 14 months ago or so. So a lot of good questions today. Where should I start if I want to learn creative finance? Well, you start with I hate to say this because I saw some guy on Instagram say, I'm the best creative finance teacher on the planet. And I was like, I guess I need to learn from you because
Bro, I saw an ad today with you in it, and I'm pretty sure it's not your ad.
it's not my ad. We're already working on it. Here's the thing. People are so thirsty to talk about creative finance.
Yeah.
Guys, don't learn creative finance from people that's not their main focus. It's been my main focus for over 7 years. I have attorneys that call me, and they call me and they say, your students are the best educated people I've ever met in 35 years of being an attorney in Texas or being an attorney in Massachusetts or being an attorney here, whatever. We get compliments on our people from attorneys. Okay. And they say, you wouldn't believe the trash that I deal with other people's mentorships. Guys, make sure you're learning from people that are actually doing creative finance deals and show you addresses and show you HUDs and show you these types of things. I can pull up an address I bought today, an address I bought yesterday, an address I bought the day before. If you're not learning from those types of people, you're not learning. You're being misguided. It's like learning
it's all theory.
It's all theory. And if you want to learn how to lift weights from somebody that, their max bench is the bar itself, that's probably the wrong person to learn how to lift weights from. So go learn from somebody that's doing the business, has verified. I get kicked off of Instagram. I was banned from Instagram for 10 days because I was naming all my addresses of houses I was buying and standing in front of them and saying, hey, here I am at 13013 South Cobalt Court. This is a house I own. I just bought it yesterday. Here's where the deal came from. I got a $0. Start on my YouTube channel, warm up there. Second place I would go is go to my Facebook group and link in with my students. My students are well-trained. They will love on you. They will give you the next level of education. If you decide you want to join my community, then join my community. That's the hierarchy. But start with the free stuff. Start with my YouTube channel and go from there. Okay.
Should we bring some people on?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions on here that were really, really good. I think it was a book. This was a good one. What's the best seller finance list to pull? Denise, the best seller finance list to pull is high equity or houses that are completely paid off. The next best one for seller finance specifically is VA and FHA loans. Okay. Now, here's the funny thing about sub 2. Sub 2 is technically seller finance. Technically, the whole entire umbrella is called creative finance, but underneath that, you got seller is seller financing you, right? Well, if they're giving you their loan, that's still technically seller finance. It's just that the house is not paid off. And I don't want to confuse you, but one of the best lists also is FHA loans and VA loans. And you can get those on Privy as well, or you can get those on ListSource. ListSource is really, really, really good, but it's expensive. Privy is not as expensive, okay? But yeah, high equity is seller finance. Seller finance is high equity. Length of term as well. There's really great. So I just hired a guy on my team, Brent. I think he's like 30 grand a month. He's a data scientist, worked for a hedge fund for over 10 years. And we are going to create a process to standardize how to underwrite single family, both cash and creative, and standardize a process for underwriting multifamily, both cash and creative. And I'm going to start getting people certified so people can say, I'm certified. I know how to gather the data, look at it. I never want to look at another wholesaler's deal that is not a certified underwriter. It is embarrassing what's going on in this industry that you have Brent Daniels, Jerry Norton, Jamil Damji, Pace Morby, all these people that are teaching people how to comp on YouTube. But I see 80% of the deals I look at, people don't have photos, close of escrow date. They don't know, it's like, hey, will you buy this? I'm like, can you send me photos? Oh, I don't have photos. How do I know what my construction costs are going to be? How do I know anything about the deal? When's the close of escrow? Oh, I don't know. Are there tenants in the property? If I close the property, are there going to be tenants in it? Oh, I don't know. Let me ask.
How about, can I see the purchase agreement? No. Right. What?
And so
how am I going to be able to agree to get something assigned to me that I've never read? That's bananas.
If you guys are out here, right, and you're learning, we got over 500 people watching right now. I would ask yourself right now, do you know what a good deal looks like? Because I think that's a really great place to make sure you check that box. Yeah. Right? And when we say go stack skills, here's a couple of skills that you can learn. Learn how to talk to people, right? Brent Daniels is the best. He's my mentor. Okay. Learn how to talk to people. TTP. Okay. That's a skill that you have to acquire. Another skill you have to acquire is how to actually say whether a deal's good or not, right? Because when you're talking to people, how do you know where to negotiate, where to stop negotiating, how to get to whatever? If all you're doing is saying ARV or Zillow price minus 40%, Zillow price, that is not how you comp a deal. I've never seen a fix and flipper who is your customer, by the way. Your customer is a fix and flipper or a landlord or a homeowner or maybe a hedge fund. And by the way, I have some really good news about hedge funds I want to tell you before we bring people on here. But these are your 4 customers. If you're out there negotiating and talking to homeowners, but you don't know what these 4 buyers are going to buy from you, my only question to you is, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you go out there and you don't know what a good deal is or not a good deal? You should be able to go, seller wants 200 grand. That's 50 grand over price. I'm confident in that number. So I'm going to play the follow-up game until they're willing to negotiate down that 50 grand. Don't go out there and lock up a contract that you won't be able to sell. That's one of the biggest problems with people is wholesalers in this industry going and doing that. So here's good news, and then I'll shut the hell up because I've been away from Wholesale Hotline and my microphone for the last couple of weeks. Really exciting. I had one of my partners in my title company called me up, and he represented Colony Homes, Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent, some of the biggest, big, massive companies.
Yeah.
He said that during the Pro Bowl, 30 of the top hedge funds in the country are getting together in Vegas, and they are doing a launch party. They have all raised $150 billion to deploy into the market. They won't even be able to deploy that much cash, and they plan on turning back their purchasing back up in March, at the end of March or first part of April. And what's really cool is there's a free, they listen to this. This is interesting. You guys know about Investor Lift. I'm not an Investor Lift client. I think that if I talk about Investor Lift, I think it's very expensive for the average person that's trying to get into this business. So I don't promote Investor Lift. I think their product is absolutely amazing. But here's what's happening. One of the hedge fund guys told me that they created, for the hedge funds, they created their own version of Investor Lift that is absolutely free to the user. And they created a platform where 30 of the top hedge funds have put their buy box in there. And then what they did is they spent like $15 million putting this technology together, and they brought in 3 million cash buyers, and they've created a platform and a way for wholesalers to put their properties, cash deals. And they're currently talking to me about creating an avenue for sub-2 and seller finance as well. And they're creating this platform. They're going to launch it, I think, on February 15th. This is less than a month away. They're launching this, and they're going to do a big party about it on the last part of February, I believe. It's completely free to sell and disposition your houses anywhere in the country directly to the hedge fund.
Do we know if they'll allow us to assign, or do we have to close?
Yes, they will allow you to assign. They will.
Some don't, right? You know what I mean?
These guys are all allowing assignments. Every single one of these guys is allowing for assignments. Here's what they're doing. There's a company that put this technology together, that gathered all the hedge funds together and made them all come on the platform. The hedge funds are paying $1,000 to the platform to buy deals directly from wholesalers. They're like, we're missing the boat on this. We have played too small for too long, and we've made it way too hard for these wholesalers out there. They're actually finding the majority of fix and flippers deals, and we're missing out on this market. And they're coming in here, and one of these guys, I don't know much about Investor Lift, other than a lot of people are happy with it. The hedge fund direct, okay, American Homes for Rent says, we have created the Investor Lift killer. Free 99. You're a wholesaler, you're an agent, you're anybody, you're able to put your stuff on this marketplace. Has 3 million cash buyers already that have bought in the last 12 months and fix and flipped. It has 30 of the top hedge funds already on the platform that have representatives sitting there looking at the funnel of deals all day long. And they've made it so easy that the buy box for the hedge fund is already pre-populated in the website. So when you go to submit, it will go, oh, here's 30 hedge funds. 21 of these don't match your result, but here's the 9 that are going to look at your deal. And then they have 24 hours. It's like basically a little, I don't know that they're going to do bidding. They're not going to do a bidding thing where it's like they're going to bid each other up. It's just going to be first come, first serve for the hedge funds. So you'll go in there, and I get these questions all the time where people are like, how do I find a hedge fund? How do I find a hedge fund? I'm like, dude, somebody needs to build the technology. Well, guess what? Somebody did. They've been working on it for 2 years. They built the technology. You don't need to go to LinkedIn and find a hedge fund anymore. They're there. They have $150 billion to deploy. They're going to be on that platform with full-time employees that are sitting there looking at the funnel. That's number one. Number two, people go, how do I find a cash buyer? Well, there you go. That's where you find your cash buyer. Number three, people say, how do I know what the buy box is for the hedge funds? Guys, they put their buy box in the technology. So when you submit your deal, it will tell you right there in your portal whether it's a good fit for which hedge fund. And you'll know immediately when you submit these deals whether a hedge fund is even a good fit for any of these deals. Technology is going to change the game, bro. ChatGPT, all this stuff that's coming out is going to amplify the success rate of wholesalers in this industry. The technology is going to make this game way too easy, in my personal opinion.
And they're going to have other cash buyers on that platform as well.
They already have they have the top 3 million cash buyers already on there, and people sitting there ready to go.
So it's like,
they asked me, this is what they asked me to go. This is what they asked me to go. Will you go get Brent Daniels, Jamil Damji? Will you go get Jerry Norton? And basically ask me, who else do you have? And will you invite them to the Pro Bowl, to our private suite? We want to put a party together for you guys, and we want you guys to go out there and tell your students, tell your people, this is completely free to you. We are paying for the technology, and we will pay the broker on the deal $1,000 every time we buy a deal from you.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's awesome. And so,
I mean, it's all data, right, Pace? I mean, it's all what we've been doing individually. They're just putting a bunch of,
they're making it easy. They see the value of wholesalers.
Data scientists together. Yeah.
Wholesalers have been one of the most important parts of this industry. This is what's so funny about like real estate agents that look down on wholesalers. I'm like, guys, wholesalers are like what facilitate the majority of people's fix and flips. They facilitate the majority of people's BRRRR deals. The wholesalers are a whole entire market that has not been loved on the way that real estate agents have been loved on with technology, with like National Association of Realtors and MLS and all this kind of stuff. This technology they put like $15 million into will revolutionize the way that you guys sell your deals. And more importantly, it will revolutionize the way you talk to sellers, because you will know what the buy box looks like before you go out and pull a list. If you're like, I want to sell deals to hedge funds, great. Then don't pull a list that doesn't fit the hedge fund's buy box. It's going to be so easy if it already isn't the easiest business to get into.
Amazing.
I don't know. Is there an easier business to get into besides wholesaling real estate?
Well, listen, it's the most proven path to financial freedom is finding discounted property. That's been since, you can own property began. You know what I mean? Like it's absolutely incredible. And the fact that we could go out with a cell phone and make, multiple 6 figures from just being on this all day, talking to people that own ugly houses or in ugly situations. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just getting over the fears that we have of talking to strangers. It's getting over the learning curve of doing your first few deals. It's getting over the fear of, squatting up with people that are a few steps ahead of you. But if you do all of that, and you could do it quickly, and we lay it out every Monday here, and throughout the rest of the week on podcasts, on the Wholesale Hotline podcast and YouTube channels, our individual YouTube channels. I mean, that's the whole thing. Squat up with people that are already doing this thing. Be brave to get on your phone and take action and start a half hour a day, start an hour a day, start, 2 hours on the weekends. I mean, whatever you want to do, just go out and find people that own ugly houses or ugly situations and solve their problems. And somebody put, well, why wouldn't people just go online and submit their own houses to this platform?
That question tells me you've never spoken to a motivated seller.
Thank you. Because they need somebody that will emotionally connect.
They don't even know that they do not even know. That's the craziest thing. There's so many things in life. Okay. I'm driving down the road. Okay. Driving down the road. And 10 years, I'm driving by the same corner. Okay. Every single day. and I have a tooth problem that I have to go fix. And I call and I get a referral and they send me to this. They go, here's the address, call these people. And I set the appointment. And guess what? I go to the appointment, I click on the thing, and it goes to a corner that I've passed 1,000 times in my life, maybe more. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea that this building was a dentist's office.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how many of those types of things are going on in your life right now? You have no idea. If you're a homeowner that's going through a stressful situation, look at Maricopa County alone, just Maricopa County in Arizona, where we currently live. An average of 3 people get foreclosed on every single day right now that have 1,000 people calling them and saying, I can solve your problem. I can solve your problem. I can solve your problem. When a distressed property owner, that's 90 deals a month are getting foreclosed on that a wholesaler could have solved the problem. And your question is, why wouldn't they just go direct to the hedge fund? Bro, they won't even pick up the phone unless you go knock on the door. These people are in stressful situations.
Yep.
Okay. We're not calling Betty Smith on the corner that trims her hedges every day. That's not our target market. Our target market is it's the same thing with business. I'm currently in the business of buying businesses, and people ask me in my DMs, they go, why would these sellers ever sell a profitable business? Okay, well, I can answer that question 1,000 times, but your question tells me you've never actually had a conversation with a distressed property owner. And it also tells me 100% there's no chance that you have ever stood in the living room of a distressed property owner.
Yeah.
If you talk to these people, you will understand what this game looks like. And it's funny, when I used to do the Prius drive, now I feel like I should start doing my Prius drive-bys again, because I want to show people what it looks like to be in these environments. And you walk into an appointment and you go, oh my gosh, I've listened to 30 episodes of Wholesale Hotline, and I had no idea what you guys were saying was absolutely 100% true.
Yep.
These people are not looking for solutions to their problems. They're ostriches with their heads in the sand. Okay.
It's 6 to 10% of the market. I mean, that's where we live. And I think the problem that and this is the problem I had for a long time, Pace, and I will fully admit it. I didn't think that these deals came along because I didn't think that, people were really that stressed. You could just put it on the market and be done with it, and that'll be it. Do you know how much, like, in every single deal, there is a wrench that gets thrown in? Every single deal, somebody's didn't sign a piece of paper. Every single deal, somebody didn't get, the payoff statement to the title company in time. Every single deal, we have to talk and talk and talk. And you almost be the therapist of the property owner that's going through this incredible things in their life, and they have nobody else to turn to. And here we are. You know what I mean? Every single deal. All right. That's what that is really the skills of communicating with people that are in distress situations and showing them the path, not convincing them, not hoodwinking them, showing them this is your option. Do you want this option? Is this where you want to go? Yes. Okay, great. Here we go. And walking them down the path to be able to get this stress off of their back. And people don't get it. People have never, I remember the calls from foreclosing on 5 properties. I remember the repo dude coming to my house in the middle of the night and taking the cars. I remember all of these things. I remember the fear I had. I remember ducking my head. I remember not answering my phone. I remember going into a shell for 18 months during these situations. They are tough. They are tough situations. So if you have a servant's heart to go out there and get through all that and to be able to communicate with them and help them get through this process, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And I'm telling you, nothing is more rewarding than actually solving that problem. I mean, it's not just like a realtor listing a house.
No,
it's not like somebody just going over to help them move or something like that. It is a whole bunch of stuff all wrapped up into one, thrown at one person at one time that totally stresses them out to the point where they're shaking, where they are taking medication, where they are just totally uncomfortable in regular society because they're so embarrassed. Yeah. And you see them later on, if you ever see them again, and all of a sudden they're standing a little bit taller, they're not as stressed out, and they're on with their life. It's rewarding.
Yeah, this is a lot of people in the comments talking about what I mentioned. People are either really excited about it or really fearful of this. Like Ingrid Hernandez, one of my favorite people, saying, "I've never sold to a hedge fund on purpose. I'm passionate about this." Okay, cool. Guess what, Ingrid? I actually don't like doing business with hedge funds either. But here's what I do like about hedge funds coming back into the marketplace. It tells you that's a barometer. That's a measurement for what's going to be happening over the next 3 or 4 months. If hedge funds have way more intel than we do, and they're out there raising capital, look what Chase just did, right? Did you guys see that Chase is raising a tremendous amount of money to go out and buy single family homes? What does that tell you about what's happening on the horizon? You're going to be, these are great opportunities for you. Dave Gulick, who is Medium Wave Dave on Instagram, his entire business model for a year was literally just dispositioning to hedge funds.
Yep.
Now that stuff turned off. That's why I don't like hedge funds, is because I feel like that is a great way to make money temporarily. And now I understand Ingrid's argument. Her argument is like, what about the individual investor? You're disenfranchising the mom and pa investor. Well, I'm a mom and pa investor too, Ingrid. This is why I don't go out and do a lot of deals with hedge funds. But I'm just telling you, technology is changing, and this platform is not owned by hedge funds. Okay. This platform, which I'm not going to say the name, they're not launching it yet. Everybody's saying in the chat, what's the name of the website? I'm not telling you, and I haven't told you. I'll tell you in a couple of weeks once I'm being given permission. We'll even bring the owner of the site on this website. We'll bring them on Wholesale Hotline, and I will tell you, they have way more individual mom and pop buyers on there than they do hedge fund buyers. Okay, way more. But somebody needed to build this software 15 years ago. And thank goodness this is our problem. Thank goodness that these are the things that we get to deal with, is that we get to reinvent ourselves and go, how can we amplify what's going on in this business? I can tell you in the disposition world, what happens is Jamil was dispositioning the majority of my deals. Disposition is half of the business. Half of the business.
Yep.
People spend 99% of their time on acquisitions and then 1% on dispositions, which is where Keegley comes in. And so right now, Keegley is, I'm talking to Jamil about how can Keegley actually amplify their disposition utilizing this platform. And it's coming. Guys, whether you like it or not, it's coming. And 99% of people, I think, like it. It's just the 1% that are like, but how is it going to affect me? Don't think about how is it going to affect me. Think, how can I leverage this as an additional tool in my toolbox? That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, the business is going to change. The business is going to evolve. It's going to adjust. It's going to do amazing things. That's why you need to actually have skills.
Yes.
That's it. Like if you have skills, you're confident in knowing that you can go out in any market, in any situation, and provide value. You just find where you can, point your efforts towards.
Well, this is a good example right here of what you're saying. People are saying open doors going out the door. No, they're not, guys. Open Door is changing their business model because they're incredibly intelligent. Okay. You know what they changed their business model to? They tested out what was working. They made some money. They lost some money. They lost a lot of money the last year. And you know what they're doing? They're turning their entire business model into a funnel. They're going to use the same lead gen that they've been using, but they're going to sell the deals off to hedge funds as well. So now if you guys are like, oh, I'm not going to do deals with hedge funds, guys, I'm sorry. But you saying I don't want to do deals with hedge funds means that you don't want to utilize what's evolving and changing about the market. And the funny thing is, hedge funds have been buying real estate for a very, very long time. It's just that you're hearing about it more. They're not buying. This was an interesting thing. I had a conversation with Kathy Fetke on Bigger Pockets Personality. And she said, if you look back 20, 30 years ago, hedge funds were buying the same amount of houses percentage-wise as they are today. It's just that the news articles are easier for us to see on social media.
Yeah.
And those are salacious, interesting articles. Guys, hedge funds are not taking over the world. It's just that you're seeing it more and it's become more mainstream, at least from your perception. The individual mom and pa investor like Pace, Jamil, you guys, has always been the same percentage of the market. It has not changed.
Can somebody do a calculation of 150 million into 44 trillion? Because that's the amount of equity homeowners have in the United States. They have 150 billion. It sounds like a tremendous amount, guys. It's not, it is a fraction. I mean, anybody that's worried that like hedge funds are going to turn this into some sort of like corporate, we have to rent overlords, that we have to rent houses from them. Come on.
Right.
Come on. It's just not.
We got some people in the backstage. What do you say? You want to
You
bring
shouldn't
them
be. Yeah.
Brittany Berryman. I just saw you in Tampa.
Hey.
You would think that Brittany's sick of seeing me. What's up, Brittany? How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
What's
Really
up,
good.
Brittany?
Never sick of seeing you. Hey, how are you?
Awesome. Better now. Talk to us.
All right. So I have an opportunity to purchase a commercial plaza. It's the first big thing that I've done outside of single family. It's such a great deal, but my brain always goes to wholesaling. I see the tax benefits in purchasing this. The seller is wanting to sell it to a seller finance at 4%, 30 years.
This is a Texas deal.
This is a Texas deal.
This deal got sent to me, I think.
I sent it to you. Yep.
Okay.
My hesitation on us taking it down is the down payment. So he wants 20% down, and most of our capital is tied up in our properties. So he wants 1.15 million, $230,000 down.
Okay. So a couple of things. Number one, you don't have to use your own money to do this, right? You've got one thing in the sub-2 mentorship, you're not a sub-2 student, but one thing in the sub-2 mentorship is the average sub-2 student has $72,000 of private capital to lend or partner with you on. Okay. That's the average student. So if I were you, I'd gather 4 or 5 students together and go, hey, who wants to partner with me on it? And you'll be into the deal, no money. Right. I don't just teach creative finance. I teach creative deal structure, and I teach creative raising capital, where you can do that deal all with partners. The problem is a lot of people go, wait, I have to have partners? No, I want to own it all by myself. Okay, well then go find out the $232,000, right? So a couple of things, a couple of different ways you can do this. Number one, which I don't suggest you do, because you don't have the time, get better at negotiating. You don't have the time for that. Slow play the guy, play him down to 10%. Right? You could do that, but it sounds like you've already got it under contract, and you're not going to go back and retrade the guy. So number two,
he did say he did, and I've explained to him my situation. He said the 20% down isn't like a definite thing. He said he's willing to open and negotiate if we need to come down with more down, but that also would mean higher payments.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can do this. Okay, you got to think outside of the wholesaler box for a little bit.
Right.
Look at Zach Pate. He just did his first 12-unit deal, no money out of pocket. All my students are raising a ton of cash, and you got to tap in with sub-2 students. Okay, your network needs to stop just being wholesalers. You got to be connecting with private money lenders, which is the sub-2 community is a lot of private money lenders. Okay,
right.
I attract a very specific type of audience, and a lot of them are private money lenders. So make more friends in the sub-2 community. All right. Yep. That's number one. So you might be able to raise the money today on this deal. Number two, what you can always do is that when you're doing seller finance, this is what's magical about seller finance, is that you can go to them and say, let me put down 5%, and I'll give you another 5% next year, another 5% next year, and another 5% next year on top of my payments. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you see why people learn from me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And the paperwork in order to do this properly is not a wholesale contract. Okay.
Right.
It is going through a sub-2 student or getting an attorney to draft it up for you.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
Most of the problems I see people do in seller finance is they go to a title company and they use some wholesale contract and they added an addendum, and then they call me or they DM me and they go, Pace, this whole deal's falling apart. Like, whose contract did you use? Oh, well, I used a wholesale contract and I added an addendum.
Yeah,
okay.
No.
So I would maybe use, who's your closing attorney?
So I use University Title. It's a title company here locally.
If they're not specializing in seller finance, I would abandon them. I'd go to Allison Tipton or Scott Horn.
Oh, I know Scott. Me and Scott email back and forth quite a bit.
There you go.
So,
Scott,
yeah.
Scott came from my universe, and we put him on the map about 3-4 years ago, and everybody kind of knows Scott. He's great. They're really busy. So I would maybe look at Allison Tipton. Okay. But what I would do is if I were you, I'd get 3 or 4 partners.
Okay.
What city is this in?
In College Station, Texas. Texas A&M, whoop.
What is
give me,
the economics look good?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you
It's
sent
been,
this to me and I didn't like it.
you didn't respond. So I don't,
Then you didn't send it
Well,
to me. in my email.
give us your pitch
You sent it to my
for,
DMs.
for this deal.
I
If you
texted
sent
to
it to him, what's the pitch? What'd you send it to him as?
sent it to him at, well, that was the question of, I guess for me, it's, deciding whether to hold it for ourselves. Cause it's great for us as far as taxes, because we're paying taxes out the wazoo.
Let's say that you have something go wrong, right? So I have a 30 unit deal that I bought in Corpus Christi on seller finance, no money down, 50-year note, 4% interest, great deal. But then I bought the deal and I found out that the property, I closed on the deal. We started renovating the property, started replacing shower valves, et cetera. And we found out that they did the plumbing incorrectly 20 years ago and it was backing up. And essentially the property had turned into a cesspool. It's going to cost me like $200,000 to fix it. Are you in a situation to if something like that pops up in the next 2-3 months, are you in a situation to fix that?
Yes. I mean, we have capital put aside for something like that.
But you don't have money for a down payment.
Not $230,000. No.
Okay. So if you don't have $230,000 for a big commercial property, then you probably should be if I were you, I'd bring on financial partners and partner with people. I would not be buying that by yourself.
Yeah. So that was our thing. We were wanting to partner with someone and bringing the deal. So I'm glad you mentioned that. If we were going with the private, so we were going to pair private money. If we were going with the private money lender, depending on what their interest rates are, then the cash flow would be without the private money lender, cash flow is like $1,800 a month. That's net. The debt service to the seller is about $4,300 a month.
So we hear if you brought in a private money lender, which I don't suggest you do, because if you have a private money lender, you've also brought on a ticking time bomb. And as a wholesaler, I've known you for a while. You're not a capital raiser, so not yet, at least.
Right.
So what's going to happen is you're going to negotiate with your private money lender, and your private money lender is going to say, "Hey, Tiffany, when am I going to get my money back?" And now you're holding a ticking time bomb, and you're going to say, 24 months. Right. So how are you going to pay them back? You're going to replace them with another private money lender. I guess you could do that. A smarter way to do is just, why not partner with somebody? Bring somebody on that has the money for the deal. Let them have 50-50, unless there might be some greed in here. You are an entrepreneur, so we have greed.
I actually did discuss with a fellow Avenger, and he was, yeah, let's go for it. But his thing was, well, if I put up all 230, I'll give you 7% equity, and then I want to keep everything. And I was like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, this is why you do not raise money from people that are already at a high level. This is I'm doing a Raising Private Capital series with Jerry Norton here in the next couple of months, because people believe I'm going to go find high net worth individuals to raise capital from. That's not who you raise capital from. Because those people like me, I call them sharks. I'm a shark. If you bring a deal to me and you want to raise capital with me and you want me to, as a financial partner, I go, give me 90%, you get 10. Because I know what I bring to the table. What you should do is you should bring smaller groups of people together with smaller amounts of money. And I call them swimmers, is they want to swim with you and they want to learn how to swim. And they want to do, these people might not bring a lot of resources regarding real estate experience to the table, but they'll bring the money to the table that you can keep 50, 60% of the deal, but they're the ones that bring all the money to the table. If I were you, I'd go, I need 4 people at $60,000 each. Each one of you guys can get 10% of the deal, and I'm going to keep 60%. You guys do 40%.
Awesome.
That's the way I would. How the hell are you not one of my students?
I don't know. I need to be. Like, this is like,
I literally have not even given you 0.02% of what I teach in just the last 10 minutes.
So this thing gets $6,100 in rent a month in leases.
It gets 70. Hold on, I actually have it right here in front of me. In leases, it gets $7,185.
Okay, and it's fully leased.
It's fully leased.
What's it zoned?
What do you mean?
What's the zoning on the building?
It's commercial.
Is it commercial for a doctor's office? Is it commercial for grocery stores? Is it commercial
it actually has,
for
it has a contractor.
office
It
space?
has it has a contractor, it has a State Farm insurance company, it has a builder, and it has a brokerage firm. And
So offices.
yeah,
Got it. And do you have to put any money into it?
no. He was like,
It's
hey, I
in
asked him, I
great
said, can we
shape.
get it in? It's in great shape. We walked it. My husband and I actually sat and spoke with the seller for 3 hours. I asked him, I said, hey, do you mind if we even get an inspection? He was like, yeah, go right ahead. So we would have an inspection done on it before when he gets back. He actually gets back in town tomorrow from Montana.
So you got a real estate brokerage and insurance. What else?
A builder and a contractor.
Is there any threat if the recession gets worse?
100%.
Was that?
You just put, there's
Okay.
no anchor tenant in here at all. An anchor tenant is like recession proof. You have 4 tenants in here that are all reliant on the housing market.
Two of the tenants have been in there since 1984.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
But what about the other 2?
The other 2, they have been there for the last 10 years, and their lease doesn't end until 2025.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
You
Pace-
sent this
Pace,
deal
what-
to me via text?
How much do you save in taxes if you buy this? So let's say you do the rapid depreciation,
Right.
take it all in the first year. Pace, do you know how to do that real quick?
I sure do. What's the purchase price?
1.5.
Okay, so 1.5 if you do a cost seg.
1.15
million.
1.15.
Yes.
Okay,
Got it.
1.15.
Okay, sorry.
You'll get on a cost seg for a commercial property, you'll get roughly 40% of the purchase price on a cost seg. Obviously, I'm not the engineer doing the cost seg study,
Right.
but it's roughly 40% on all my properties over $1 million is what I get. So 40% of that is 440,000. Let's say 450.
Yep.
So at 450, I don't know what you made last year, Brittany, but you have really nice cabinets. So I imagine you are probably in the higher end tax bracket.
Taxes killed us last year.
That will save you $150,000 in net tax minimum, maybe even $200,000 in taxes.
That would be phenomenal.
You would save $200,000 in taxes on just that deal in your first year if you were 100% the owner. But if you were 50% the owner and you didn't have to bring any money to the table, you would get $100,000 deduction off your taxes.
That would still be phenomenal.
Yeah. So
But
if
then
I
you
were
have
you,
to
I would buy
reload
the
that
deal.
up the next year. You know that, Brittany. You got to buy
Okay.
7 to 8 times the amount you make in your income a year per year to not pay any taxes. So remember that it's a chase game because now you're buying more and more and more and more each year if you're trying to avoid the taxes. So
Okay.
I would rather you be like, you know what, I'm going to buy this as a long-term investment that I'm going to get really good appreciation out of. And that's the long-term wealth strategy more than I want to avoid taxes. Now I get it. It's in the tax law and that's awesome. But if you start really chasing that thing down, you got to get really good at raising funds because you're going to have to be like Pace and raise a lot of funds and buy a lot of big buildings.
I would have
You
to
know
do
what I
this
mean?
over and over again.
Over and 8 times your income.
Okay.
Once you get to that $1 million income, it starts getting big properties. Once you get to $2 million income, it gets really big. Once it gets to 3 million, it gets really just. I mean, why do you think Pace is hoovering up so much? But it is a lot. I mean, you got to have a whole business set aside to build that.
Yeah, I tell wholesalers all the time, at some point you should stop buying, you should stop doing more wholesale deals. There should be a point. It's kind of like Brent, you hit an equilibrium.
Yep.
You standardize your business and your processes. I get wholesalers to go, man, I want to go from 10 deals a month to 20 deals a month. I'm like, no, you don't. You want to know how to make double the amount of money as a wholesaler with the same amount of deals? Start buying assets and keep your money. That's how you do it. You stop giving away 40% of your money to the tax man. And so, Brittany, based on what you did in wholesale last year, you guys need to probably hire somebody to help standardize things so you're not involved as much. And
Right.
you are at that level where you should be acquiring probably $3 to $4 million a year in real estate, acquiring debt through creative finance. You see how easy it is. This guy's like, yeah, take it. I don't even care about your bank records. I don't care how nice your kitchen is. I don't care, even though you do have a nice kitchen.
It's a nice living room kitchen set. I'm telling you. It looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is mind blowing just because I mean, I never thought of it that way and like see both perspectives. and obviously, and that's our thing. Like our wholesaling is constantly active, which it's great. But however, the amount that we're paying out in taxes, number one, we need to become more passive. Number two, we need to figure out a way to where to put this money as we're getting it from
Yeah.
wholesaling and kind of readjust.
If you really think about it, this is what's interesting is that the IRS pays for all my down payments on my properties.
That's a great perspective.
Because I look at how much Jamil paid in taxes last year, and I'm like, you could have taken literally the same amount of money that you paid the IRS, maybe even less, and you could have just put money down on sub 2 and seller finance deals and bought enough property that you didn't pay any taxes. And then next month your property or your values go up, your sellers or your tenants are paying all the property value down, so you're not even paying your debt.
Right.
At some point, this is what's interesting is there's a number that sticks in my mind. The number that sticks in my mind is 28.7.
Yep.
You should memorize this.
Okay.
Every time I see any human being, I have this weird little habit. I look at them and the number pops up in my head. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're Indian. I don't care if they're Hispanic, they're white, they're Asian, whatever. I don't care what they are. All I look at them is a 28.7. Do you know what that 28.7 represents?
I don't. What is it?
It is the percentage of money that they go out, earn their paycheck, and they pay 28.7% towards my debt.
Yeah.
My debt. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting. I have close to that by the end of this year, I'll have over 2,000 units. That means that I have an army of 2,000 people that don't even know my name, earning 30% of their income to pay off my debt. They think they work for Procter and Gamble. They think they work for a mortgage officer. They think they work for Target, Walmart, etc. They work for Pace Morby.
It's nice.
I have 2,000 employees that spend 30% of their time at their job that actually are working for me, not even for themselves.
Wow.
And so
From
you got to go
January
gobble up
to
these properties. That's called leverage. Now you have an army of human beings that for the rest of their lives, they will rent from you guys, and you guys get to duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate yourselves.
Right.
Yeah, here's what I call it, Berryman family. I call it crowdsourcing my wealth.
I love that.
Pace, how'd you get so rich? Well, because all these other people are going out and working 28.7% of their income goes to me.
Love it.
Yeah. I could be sleeping in my bed and today,
Wow.
1,500 people woke up this morning and go, all right, 30% of my day needs to be dedicated to Pace. Interesting,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, very. I just took a whole thing of I have a whole page of notes on a Word.
Perfect. Now you know what 0.03% of my sub 2 students learn.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
just teach creative finance. I teach actual business structure. I teach raising capital. I teach taxes. I teach how to build and scale yourself out of your business. Wholesaling is cool. It's the gateway drug. You know it. You have done such a phenomenal job, but you're now at that point. And I think 90% of the people in the audience are probably looking at you, Brittany, and going, hell yeah, I want to be Brittany. So congratulations on being that person, and congratulations on reaching the next phase of your business, which is become Brent Daniels, which is how do I standardize my wholesale business? Bigger is not better in wholesale. I can tell you that right now. I don't know a single wholesale operation that is not an enterprise like a Keegley or what's the other ones called? New
Western and
New Western, those knuckleheads.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those. I don't know anybody besides 2 or 3 people that are happy with anything more than 8 to 12 deals a month. In fact, I think the sweet spot's less than that. I personally think 6 to 10 deals a month is the sweet spot. You can standardize it. You can make it efficient. You can get yourself out of the business, and you can then move on to the next phase of your business. You never get rid of your wholesale business. It's the foundation.
Right.
It's where the deals come from.
Once you build that, Brittany, and you're out of it, now you have your full schedule to go find 10, 12, 20 of these deals that you're talking about. Raise all the funds for it if you want. Even if they give you 7% ownership, I want you to have more, certainly. But you start putting all those together, all of a sudden, you've got this big, robust portfolio, and you look back 10 years, 20 years, you sell half the portfolio, the other half's paid off, and it's done, right? But
Yeah.
your funding partner in that is your wholesaling business. You can live your life off your wholesaling business. You can get 20, 30, 40, 50,000 passively a month from your wholesaling business. Will you have to pay taxes on it? Yes, if you don't own a bunch of property. But guess what? You are freed up. Everything's paid for. You're living an incredible lifestyle, and you're building wealth.
Right.
I mean, that's the key. You know what I mean? And you make sure that all consumer debts are paid. Of course, you don't want to be somebody else's ROI. You don't want to get $1,800 a month in passive income and pay, student loans and credit cards and something
It
else like
pays
that.
28.7% of your income.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the absolute truth. From January to October, Americans pay taxes. The average American pays taxes and interest. It's just some of them are paying off of our interest.
Yeah.
Right? They're paying down our interest in our loans. And so it's really, really, really powerful. But I think, you build a system to make you rich, super rich, and then pull yourself out to go and get super wealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the issues that I see with a lot of people is, and Pace is the king of delegation. He's got incredible teams set up to run everything. You wonder why he owns so many businesses is because he's got a formula for finding really great people and putting them into these businesses to run. He's not running it on a day-to-day. He's not the one, doing the books, so to speak. You know what I mean? He's not the one, making sure that all the email accounts are all perfectly organized or anything. He sets it up, he builds it, and he moves on and moves on and moves on. And that's how he's able to own a bunch of businesses.
I went into the office today for the first time in 13 months.
Right.
And my employees were like, whoa. I have employees at my Mesa office. It's about 5,000 square feet, my Mesa office. And then our Tempe office is about 20,000 square feet. And the one in Mesa I haven't been to in 13 months. And I go in there specifically because we have a new employee that I specifically need to train about stuff in the business. And I walk in there and my partner goes, whoa, you're here. And I go, yeah, don't worry. I drank some Benadryl so I won't break out in hives because I'm allergic to this environment. Right. Like I don't want to be in an office. I think that's the cool thing about being a wholesaler too. Is that you guys can really operate without an office, but at some point, right? At some point you need to have an office where other people are working and you guys are leveraging. Like Brittany, you are probably one of the people in my life that I see as in the best shape I've ever seen. Okay?
Thank you. I work hard. I was in the gym 5 hours today. So
I know, but check this out. Check this out.
Holy cow.
Business, you treat your body the same way you treat your business. And what do I mean by that? I mean that your body, the only person that can work on you being physically fit is you.
it's me. Yep.
And guess what? If you go to Avengers or you go to another mastermind or you go do something for a week or two, your business will slow down without you physically working on it.
Yep.
You need to get an office. You need to get people that are showing up there every day and working on your behalf. And you need to start automating and learning how to be a business owner so that you can move on to bigger and better things. You do not want to be a wholesaler as your identity in 24 months.
Right.
You want to tell people, oh yeah, I own a wholesale business.
Right.
Right. Think about that. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have other people spend 5 hours in the gym for you and you could get that body?
That would be nice.
Right. But guess what? You can do that in business and you can do that in your wealth, but you cannot do that with your body.
Yep.
So the mindset that got your body to where it is, which is super impressive. If you guys have ever seen this woman's arms, she rivals Brent Daniels. Okay, she rivals Brent Daniels.
I love it.
Anybody in here.
I love it. Let's get a workout in.
But Brittany, you are using the same mentality and the same mindset that got you where you are with your body and your fitness. You're using the same mentality in your guys' individual business. So you gotta switch that up. And I think your next level this year is a big level up year for you guys. Who's going to operate your business for you if you guys decide to take 2 months off in your wholesale business? Who's going to do that?
Well, you and I discussed in Tampa, I need to find an operator.
You do need to find an operator. And you're a great delegator. You're a great leader. You're an amazing human being. I think somebody would be I think there's somebody right now on their hands and knees praying for a job opportunity that just lost their job as somebody in the mortgage industry or working for a builder, a secretary for a builder or whatever. I think they're praying for you to step up and go, I need to hire somebody badass to run my business.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am going to manifest that me and that person.
Yes. I'm going to manifest it for you.
Amazing. Thank you.
And you don't want my manifesting powers. If you take one drop of my blood,
I've heard your manifesting powers.
it's scary. It's scary. I'm proud of you. Super impressed by you. You and your husband are badasses, and it was really good hanging out with you in Tampa, by the way.
Same. Really enjoyed it, and this is phenomenal. I can't wait to share the outcome of all of this.
Cool. Yeah. Well, let us know.
I will. Thanks, Pace. Thanks, Brent.
See ya. You're
That's
powerful,
dude.
Great
I think
job.
everybody's biggest problem I run into that is a very successful wholesaler. I see a lot of my students, a lot of Brent's students, a lot of Jamil's students. They see this massive success, right? Like Brittany Berryman's amazing.
Yep.
They see the success, and then that's not the end of the road. Like you guys, I think a lot of people in here are like, you're in a mindset right now. Probably at least 10 to 20% of people in here are thinking, if I could just make 10 grand a month, everything would be okay. No, everything would be, a lot of your problems that you currently have would go away, but it would create new and more exciting, amazing problems and opportunities for you to grow into an actual business person. And you want to be an owner of something powerful that you can pass on to your family, that you don't have to be there. You can take 6 months off, and your employees should be surprised to see you at the office. And that's something that I did last year really, really hard. I told people, that's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. That's not my job. Find somebody to take this over. I'm not going to touch it. I'm allergic to that. Don't make me do it. And I think that that's the motto for a lot of you guys that are doing 3-4 wholesale deals a month.
Yeah, I would say 99% of the business, there's better people that can do it than you and I.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you. And that's the exciting part. If you think that it all has to be you, your ego is bananas. You're just out of control egomaniac. I'm just telling you.
Fear,
you have to understand it's 99% is done by better people are better at sales, they're better at follow-up, they're better at organization, they're better at pulling lists, they're better at all these things than you are. And that's what is absolutely incredible. But you've got that extra, 1 to 10% of visionary and experience and knowing how to stay ahead of trends and how to stay profitable. And that's really it. And if you believe that, you will find those people. Like you said, you'll manifest people that are so much better. There's probably a bazillion things that Laura does better than you.
So many things. A question I really enjoy asking the audience when I'm speaking. I spoke 3 times last week on stage, and this week I'll speak 3 more times, and I will ask a very similar question almost every time I speak. And the question is, how many people in here have somebody, just anybody, better at anything in your business other than you? Anything. It could be taking out the trash.
Yep.
And the majority of people are like, not me, because I'm the only person that this business relies on. I'm like, okay, so you go to a three-day seminar, hanging out with me, watching Grant Cardone, and I'm going to meet Rob Deerdeck this week, which is pretty cool. You're listening to all these people. Meanwhile, your business is suffering. Nobody's making calls. Nothing's happening. I think Brent Daniels was the guy that really got me motivated to do this, is that you were like, how much Pace? Great. I see you making all this money, but how much are you taking home?
Yeah.
And that was a question you asked me maybe 4 years ago. And I was like, oh, great question. Oh, shit. And then the other thing was,
well, people don't get it. It's not about the money to you. It really isn't. You love running and gunning. You love building. You love being around. You love serving. You were putting, loading people into your car that would then like blow you off. Like, it's so hard to imagine this, like how many people blew you off from literally going on appointments 4 or 5 years ago. It's bananas. People. And then they would get mad that you didn't work around their schedule or restructure the seller's appointment around, when they're available. It's absolutely bananas. And I saw the people that were just like all like butthurt that you weren't like changing your whole agenda for them to ride along free in your Prius around town to do deals.
That conversation was one of the most impactful conversations. I actually talk about this on stage. I don't know if anybody's ever given you feedback, but I bring you up very frequently about how you stopped me and you said, Pace, all these people you're running around trying to serve, they're not going to be successful because they never invested in themselves. I changed up my
Yep.
model. I said, all right, I'm not a mentor, but Brent is, Steve Trang is, all these other people are. I started going, if you're a TTP student or you're a Steve Trang student, I then will spend time with you, because then there's a filter that happened where you believed in yourself enough to invest in yourself.
That's it.
And all of a sudden I started hanging out with people that were like appreciating my time and sending me gifts. And I had to stop. I had to tell people, we had a mandatory law, or not law, but rule, where like, stop sending me gifts.
Yep.
And that was because I hung out with a different group of people that appreciated what was happening for them. And all of a sudden, whatever I taught them, they went out and freaking made it happen. And one of your students, actually, I ended up spending some time with them. And dude, I tell people this all the time. Your students are so freaking good at talking to people. It's ridiculous.
By the way, Base, real quick, do you mind? Super Saturdays is Saturday.
Oh yeah, tell me all about
Super
it.
Saturday, ttpday.com. Talktopeopleday.com. I am telling you, ttpday.com. Make sure that you register, because it's not going to be like live on YouTube or something like that. And it's going to be me making calls, and it's going to be Luke Rotfold making calls, who is the best in
Is he going to be playing Madden while
he might be playing Madden while we're doing it. We're getting it all set up. We're going to have a bunch of people in here. And I'm telling you, if you've never made a call, I want you to jump on this so that you make your first call. You make your first 30 minutes of calls. You call those people that you know that you should have been calling this whole time. And it's just to bring a spirit of collaboration to what is a very awkward thing when we're starting out. And this really helped me on a small level at my office, my real estate office back in the day. And I want to extend it to anybody that's part of the Wholesale Hotline community. And we're going to be real loud about it this week, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be me on the phone. You got to see it. You got to see me.
I love this. I want to hammer home on this for a second with this. Yep. I've been telling people, like, I had this guy, he's a wholesaler that started trying to teach creative finance stuff. I'm like, bro, you were just asking me how to do creative finance 4 months ago, but now you're teaching it. Like, yeah. Oh, because your business model is teaching. I got it. Okay, cool. And he says to me, I was over in Chandler speaking at an event, and he sees me in the green room, and he says, what are you working on this year? What are you doing this year? And I go, bro, the same thing I've been doing. I'm not changing up anything. I'm doubling down on what I already know works. And he's like, well, what works? And I said, here's what works. Less information. In fact, almost zero information, and way more implementation. And when I said that, I said, the only two other people I know that do this are Brent and Jamil.
I say the dumbest people make the most money in this business.
Yes.
I do, and I don't mean it. It's at 10. It's at noon Eastern time. By the way, noon Eastern time, Myrna.
Guys, what I'm saying is, you don't need more information. You need more implementation. So ttpday.com. Yep. You get to go watch the business actually happen. Mm-hmm. If I were you, I would go, all right, I need less information. The only reason you should be on Wholesale Hotline is to get plugged in, get the energy, get the buzz, and then connect with people in the side chat and find out where you can go implement. And ttpday.com is a great place to go and implement. Watch somebody doing the business. You imagine, right? Think about this. I listened to Kent Clothier say this yesterday. He says, all right, imagine me watching every YouTube video about MMA, reading every book about MMA, watching every fight about MMA, and then going to Dana White and saying, all right, bro, I'm ready to get into the octagon.
Put me in.
Put me in the octagon.
Get murdered.
It's like, dude, literally, you could not watch any of this stuff. This is for inspiration, and it's here to help you guys get connected. You need to go implement and get in the octagon right now. And what Brent's telling you is on ttpday.com, he's giving you the ability to get into the octagon and watch real time what that really looks like.
That's right. And make the calls yourselves. We're going to celebrate anybody that finds a lead. We're going to celebrate people that are making their first calls. We're going to have a whole bunch of fun. We're just bringing energy to something that is scary for a lot of people, and it doesn't have to be, because it is the difference between, whatever you want financially is right there. All you have to do is solve the problems of people that are in ugly houses or ugly situations.
Look at Alejandro Alvarez, by the way. Look what he just said. He says,
I know, 167.
Made $167,000 on one deal. So guys, by the way, We have tonight we hit about 700 live viewers. Okay. And what'll happen is you guys will be on like some of the people on Pace Morby's Facebook group. You guys are in my Facebook group. There's only 22 people over there, right? If I were you guys, I would come over to one of the YouTube channels, right? We've got my channel has 350 people watching. Okay. You jump onto a channel, a YouTube channel, you're going to get a lot more live chat. Okay. If you're on any of the Facebook groups, get out of there and come onto YouTube. That's where most of the people are hanging out. So you guys are seeing 22 people watching. It ain't 22 people. We got 600 plus people in here watching right now. So get on one of the YouTube channels, Brent Daniels, Jamil, or mine, and come in and network with people. So when you're over there asking, where are the creative finance wholesalers? Well, if you're looking for a creative finance investor, you probably should go to my YouTube channel because that's where my students are. My students are primarily sitting on my YouTube channel watching Wholesale Hotline. If you're trying to connect with people to do sub 2 and seller finance, then freaking go to my YouTube channel. And you should be bouncing back and forth. You should jump over to Jamil's and go, hey, I want to connect with you guys because he's got Astro students in there. Then go into Brent's and go, hey, I want to talk to people that are TTPers. I want to be part of the Rhino tribe. Show me what you guys got. Let's work on leads and deals together. $167,000 on one deal. Alejandro is a leader out of Dallas. He does deals all over the country. In fact, I helped him get an agent testimonial on a sub 2 deal here in Phoenix, Arizona the other day. So he's doing deals all over the country. Guys, connect with the people in the side chat. It's one of the most important things you could do. The most important thing you could do, implement. Go to ttpday.com and watch and be part of what Brent's doing. Make sure you are implementing. Second most important thing you should be doing. Let me line this up real fast. Second most important thing you should be doing is connecting with people in the side chat. The third most important thing you should be doing is actually listening to what the hell we're saying. It's way less important than implementation and networking. See, this is what I'm talking about. Michelle Rice is like 64 people watching. Michelle, you're in the wrong thing. We're broadcasting. We've got over 600. We're 620.
Yeah, it's all
people.
over the place.
It's all over the place. Come jump into one of the channels that has the most viewers and network with people. But I do appreciate you telling people to like it. All right.
That's awesome.
So you got Saturday going. This Saturday coming up.
This Saturday coming up, noon Eastern time, live, 3 hours. Set it aside. It's going to be absolutely banana. And if you haven't heard Luke Rotfold on the phone, guys, you are missing out.
He was Brent Daniels. I don't know why Brent's skipping over this, but he was Brent Daniels' acquisition guy for a couple of years. And he went off and became very successful on his own, which, kudos to him. And I remember when I got into the business, I called Brent, and I'd been in the business probably about 2-3 years at this point, but I felt I really wanted to leave Homevestors where I was. And I hit a ceiling. I was number 3 in the whole nation in Homevestors. And I was like, I need a mentor. And I joined TTP. And that's helped me bridge out of Homevestors and into just doing it on my own without worrying about direct mail, billboards, blah, blah, blah. And I go, Brent, I need to be around somebody. I need to see how other people are doing this because the Homevestors people are very secluded.
Right.
They're even horrible to each other. Like it's a bucket of blue crabs. They just hate on each other, pull each other down. They're very, very selective with who they help and why they help. And so I call Brent and I go, put me in touch with somebody I can watch them cold call and do this. Mm-hmm. And Brent goes, go to Luke. Yeah. And I watched Luke, and he was sat there and played John Madden football while he did cold calling. This is absolutely a spectacular opportunity for you guys. Go to ttpday.com so you guys can watch not only Luke, but also Brent on a live implementation challenge.
Love it. What you got going on, Pace?
Bro, I just want to make love to my wife every freaking day. And
it's a good life.
Traveling is a really big challenge. I took my wife with me to Vegas. We had a lot of fun, but really I was in my hotel room the other day and my iPhone popped up a memory of my daughter and it kind of aggregated a bunch of photos together, mixed it together and put music behind it. And I was like,
yep,
I need to spend way more time with my kids. I spend a lot more time than the average human being with my kids. I work in my studio here. I don't go to the office. I'm with my kids probably 3 to 4 hours every day.
Yep.
But I don't want to travel without my kids anymore. And unfortunately, I committed to a lot of these traveling engagements back 6, 7, 8 months ago. And so This month I was asked probably 30 times to go speak throughout the rest of the year, and I said no to 100% of my speaking requests. And so I'm going to be spending a lot more time with my community like I did in 2020.
Yep.
Way less speaking engagements, way more meetups physically around the country. And Jamil and I are going to be going to New Orleans, Puerto Rico. We're going to be going to Detroit. We're going to be going to the places that we haven't visited so we can shake hands, give you guys hugs, give you guys the love, make sure you guys are networking with each other. But this week I will be in Miami speaking at Break the Code event. Rob Deerdeck speaks right before me, and then right after me is Grant Cardone. What an interesting day I'm going to be having. Crazy. So that's what I got going on. And then also on Saturday, what I'll be doing is I'll be going to ttpday.com and watching you guys do Super Saturday.
Awesome.
What a good episode. I had a lot of comments on the side. They said that this was the best episode we've had in a long, long time.
Well, I love this audience. I love this year. I think 23 is our year. And I think everybody that sat on the sideline have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to jump off the sideline this year, Payson. It's going to be one of the most impactful for you and I and Jamil and Jerry that we've ever had from a coaching and training standpoint and a community standpoint. And that's very exciting. Very, very exciting because we've got a lot of work to do. And Jamil's on an airplane right now, or he would be here. And that's it. That's the show. Laura gave us the cue. She wants way more boning. So I'll let you go to climb upstairs and take care of business. And that's it, guys. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
We'll see you
Later.
next week. I hope to see you Saturday, noon Eastern time for ttpday.com. Love you guys.
Boom.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing? I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.